Hey guys, and welcome to the Hoffington Post. You know who I am. I am Theodore Hoffman, and I'm with an amazing man today. It's the first time we've actually met and actually spoke, but I'm well aware of who he is and what he does, and I'm sure that he's got a ton of gems to give to you guys. And could you introduce yourself for us?
Hey guys, I am Tru Powell and I am a multi-award winning entrepreneur based in the Midlands.
You heard that. Quality. And I'm just going to kind of get straight into it. It's like, what made you want to start business?
I've always kind of been in business since I was young. I remember doing an event, a children's talent show. At 7 years old, me and my brother, and we scouted the area for talent. I remember just kind of decking out this derelict garage. I remember my mum cussing me because I used her good house broom to sweep this garage out. And I just remember, I remember spreading the event through word of mouth.
Yeah.
I remember having an audience, and I remember the audience paying 50 pence each. And I remember leaving with a profit and at 7 years old, and I really didn't really understand kind of that was paving the way for what I do now, which is event management, and by putting on the event, developing talent and having a platform for young people, which is what I do now with another organisation of mine, but also entrepreneurship. Exchanging services for money, which is very much what I do now. So I've always kind of been in business. I literally went on my own or went full time. So I've always had Aston Performing Arts Academy as a side hustle for probably the last, I would say, 12, 13 years. So I did that whilst working full time. But then 6 years ago I made the decision that I wanted to go full-time self-employed or full-time entrepreneur, and it was the best decision I've ever made.
Okay, cool, brilliant. And so that all came from when you're young, when you're on your event and everyone just paying for your time, your value?
Yeah, literally. Then at 15 or 16 years old, we were still in school at the time. Me and my twin brother, we did everything together. We established another organisation. It was called Second Guardian, and that was literally all about going to different primary schools and teaching kids how to dance and sing. So we had about six schools on the go, and we would do it after school, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And we would go and have after school clubs, and we would literally have about 50 people in our class. The hall used to be rammed, and just teach, and we did that for a few years. So it's always been in the creative sector, but we always knew our value, and we always would exchange that value for some kind of money, which was nice.
Okay, amazing. Obviously you've been in business for quite a long time, and you've got quite a lot of different businesses and projects going. What was what's been an amazing setback that you've had that you've allowed to push through? Because we all have setbacks, nothing's easy in life, especially being an entrepreneur, there's so many ups and downs. But what would you say is that setback that you've overcome? And we want to know more about that, because I believe in repetition for the audience, so they'll probably watch this back and do it back, and it's going to stick into their conscience. But obviously we don't want everyone making the same mistake. But mistakes are good to make, because that's how you learn. But what are the mistakes that you had?
Oh, I've made so many, and the problem with me is sometimes I don't follow my gut, and then things turn out bad. But I'm following my head, I'm thinking this makes sense in my head, but my gut was telling me do not do it. But There's so many mistakes that I've made, so many. I'm trying to think of one that this is probably one that always sticks out to me, not because it was a catastrophic mistake, but it could have been if I didn't provide a remedy. So for our children's brand, we have the first and leading kids salon, and really fastly developing into a brand, because we're going to diversify our offering. But when we initially started, we really was doing everything to get that brand out there. And one of the things we did is went on Groupon, and I knew something in my heart was telling me, do not go on Groupon. It's not your clientele, that's not the customer that you want, and that's not what you want to associate your brand with. You kind of want an appealing brand for the affluent parent, not a parent that would shop on Groupon for the type of services that we were offering. And my gut was telling me, do not go on Groupon. Didn't listen. We went on Groupon because I was just hungry and greedy just to make this brand a name and to just get it out there. So it wasn't really even the money, it was just, I knew that Groupon had a big marketing base and a big marketing network, and it would have been good to get, exposure from Groupon. And it was one of the worst mistakes I've made in business. Literally, it's just kind of the type of customer that we attracted always wanted more for the little that they were paying. It was very difficult to manage. Groupon wasn't the best organisation, but actually from that, most of I would say 99.9% of our negative reviews and how our brand's been in some ways affected, and it could have been catastrophic for us if we didn't remedy it and get off it and sort ourselves out, was from Groupon customers. And I will never ever forget, just knowing that I made a huge mistake, and lessons learned was just follow my gut, literally, even though it made sense in my head to be on Groupon, to get all the marketing, to get our brand out to millions and millions of people in the UK. Actually, my gut was saying, this isn't what your brand is, this isn't what you do. You want to be you want to be seen as a luxury brand in some ways. And that doesn't align with your brand, so don't do it. But I went against it and I did it, and it could have been catastrophic for our business if we stayed on it.
So with because I feel like I've done, sometimes just go against my gut and you just know it's no good. But then you learn from that situation, and even the little things as well. I've realised just what you said. Everyone kind of goes through that, but if it doesn't resonate with you, just don't do it. It's not for you.
Exactly, and that's what I would always say. Your gut's usually always right, and if you feel that something doesn't feel right at the time of doing it, then don't do it. If you feel that you are going to make an investment or someone's going to invest in your business, but something doesn't feel right about how much shares you're giving away, or then just don't do it, because that's when you're going to live with your kind of regrets and stuff. So I've slowly learned to kind of go with my gut. We've had opportunities for investment for our business, but something wasn't just quite right with the deal, and I walked away from it, and that was a 120 grand investment, and I knew that would have seen the business flourish, but the shares that they were asking for was too much. I wasn't willing to give away 50% of the business, so we walked away from it. And I think for me, I'm happy about that, because I know actually whilst we're still looking for investment and the process still continues, at some point we will find the right investor at the right time for the right price. And until that time, I'm not going to, unless I feel that it's right, I'm not going to deviate from that.
So what would you say to your 20-year-old self?
Go for it, just go for it, seriously. As I mentioned earlier, I worked full time and had a side hustle. It was always in the back of my mind to, go full time as an entrepreneur, just jump in the deep end. But fear got the best of me, and I silenced all of those kind of things that told me that I can, and just listened to all of those things in my head that told me that I shouldn't and I can't. You need a stable wage, you've got a family, you want to get your house, blah blah blah, and all of those things just kind of outweighed the fact that I should have just went for it and been fearless and unapologetic. So that's what I've learned on the way, just to be unapologetic in my ability and really confident in my ability, and know that I will survive and that I will win and that I will push forward. So I would definitely tell 20-year-old Tru, go for it, be unapologetic, you can do this, be confident, and just attack it.
Just go.
Just not even listen, not even second guess it, just go.
Make the mistakes.
Learn. You'll find a way. And I've realised that about entrepreneurs. We often just find a way. So we can get given so much stuff, but we often just work it out. We find a way through it, and it somehow happens and works out. And you learn from those mistakes and you grow from those mistakes, and that's the bits or the piece that I like about running my own businesses and being my own boss, is that the learning and the growth is so important, and you get a lot of it. So yeah, just go for it.
Okay. There's one question that I want to ask first, but then I'm having a battle with myself. The question I want to ask first, but I think I'm going to go with just like the mindset and mental health perspective, because we're already on that perspective where you're talking about the 20-year-old you.
Yeah.
So I think this is the right time to go into that question. So with like mindset and mental health, me as an entrepreneur, I've been through a lot of things with mental health, and I've realised that sometimes you need to put some time in for yourself. But and also when to carry on attacking it to make sure that you get to where you need to be. What advice would you give to other entrepreneurs regarding mindset from a good mental wealth perspective, but then also go and attack it and make it happen?
I think
that's two questions. So.
Yeah, I think everything comes with balance. Everything, you have an up and a down, right and a left, yin and a yang, and you need that balance. And if you don't have that balance, then at some point something's gonna give.
Yeah.
So it's just about, yes, be really passionate about your work, your business, and yes, really give it your all. But understand that there is life outside of business, and understand that actually you need to maintain your mental well-being, and you need to find ways in order to do that. And it's took me a while to get to a point where I'm able to really manage that. And sometimes I get lost in it, if I'm honest. Like sometimes my mental health goes south, like just this COVID alone, and the uncertainty around the businesses, and whether they're going to survive COVID or not is a different story, and I have to manage that, and I've put mechanisms in place to help me manage that. So I have a really tight support group, not just family, not just my wife and my brother and so forth, but business friends, so friends in the business community that I can now talk to and say, actually, this is happening, can I have some advice, this is going on, whatever the case may be, I just need to offload. So that's number one, having a support unit. I would say number two, find an escapism, find something that you are passionate about outside of business. And that for me was fitness, and I'm very big. I go for a run twice a week. I'm in the gym 5 times a week. I'm really mindful about what I eat, and I like to track progress. I like to track my body weight and stuff. I've developed a focus around fitness, and in turn that has helped me massively with my mental well-being, because it's given me another passion. It used to be, and it still is, music and creative arts, but obviously I work in that sector, and as much as I love music and as much as I love performing and creative arts, it still is in some respects work. We're still delivering a service for money, and the pressure because of that transaction is still there, so it's no longer a hobby as such. As much as I still love it, I needed to find another passion that was outside of that, and that was fitness for me. And then the third and final thing is my faith. I'm a Christian. I'm a proud Christian, and I have to read my Bible. I have to go to church. I pray morning, noon, and night, and every day I spend at least 2 to 3 minutes with God every single day. The start of the day, or when I go to when I'm at home at night, and just be really thankful for my blessings, and just be really appreciative, and just to have that solace time where it's completely still, and I'm just going through and processing my own thoughts, but I have God processing those with me, and anything that I need clarity on, I use that time to ask God for clarity, and that's kind of how I manage my mental health, and so far so good. It's I haven't had any major episodes where I've been completely out, so it's been managed effectively.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
Oh, I get asked this a lot. I honestly get asked this a lot, and as much as my vision board say, amazing house and 5 holidays a year and amazing body and the most expensive car and so forth, and yes, I do want all of that, but I just see myself being happy. Will that make me happy? Of course. There's a relentless pursuit for financial freedom. I feel that's a must, and that's a given, and I have to get that. I have to retire my mum. I don't want her to work another day in her life. That relentless pursuit is still there, but ultimately I just see myself being happy with whatever I choose to do. Just being happy.
Being happy.
Yeah, just being happy.
I think I totally agree with you on that perspective. We can, as entrepreneurs, as business people, we always seem to be, and people look at us and seem to be thinking, he's always chasing this constantly and grafting and putting time in and putting effort into this one thing, that you don't necessarily have more time to really kind of put into yourself. I've been in that kind of position where I've just been putting 110% in the business, but none in myself. And then it obviously takes a toll.
Yeah.
So it's just about really taking a step back. And I feel like, I know that we're living in crazy times right now, and the media and COVID and the pandemic, but I feel like it's given me a great time to really sit back and spend a ton of time with my family and really understand myself on a so much way deeper perspective. And I think if you really are out here trying to chase just the money, it's really the wrong focus.
And that's the thing, and I love that you said that, because as entrepreneurs, when we get asked where do you see yourself in 5 years, we automatically think of the business, we automatically think of money, we automatically think of how big do we want the business, how many employees do we want, and those are typically the answers that we give. And I've started to train myself not to give that, because where do I see myself in 5 years? Actually, I see myself being happy. That is the first and foremost, because I can have all of the wealth, all of the business, all of the, and still end up jumping off a roof.
Yeah.
Because,
The real talk.
because I'm not happy.
I'm not happy,
So
yeah.
the top of the list, and I think as people, we need to be really looking at, when we ask those kind of questions, where do you see yourself? And we need to start with our emotions.
Yeah.
We need to start with how do we see ourselves, how do we feel at that time, and then we can start layering under that kind of the physical items, rather than saying the physical items first, and don't mention our emotions anywhere in that. I'm a very positive person, or at least I try to be a very positive person, and I'm fully aware of how my emotions affects others and my loved ones around me, and how it affects me actually, and that's why I try my best to always put that at the forefront, because if I'm happy, everyone else around me is likely to be happy.
So I'm going to get into PR, because I feel, from my perspective, you PR yourself very well, from your business and yourself as well. You've been on many different shows, and how is it that you find your opportunities, but then also position yourself, remain consistent with positioning yourself in your role and your business?
So, the first things first is your personal brand. I think that's really, really key. A few years ago, probably about 3 years ago, I read a book called Key Person of Influence by Daniel Priestley, and the book was just highlighting the importance of personal brand. PR was covered in there a little bit, but it was like really looking at how powerful your personal brand is, and even more powerful than the business. So I knew I had to, and given the amount of projects that I was in, I knew I had to really streamline my personal brand and give it an identity. I sat down with my business coach, Daniela Genus, who's amazing, and we penned a strategy. It wasn't a massive strategy, it was just a double-page strategy around really developing and harnessing my personal brand. And a lot of stuff in that was, being a keynote speaker, doing things like podcasts, applying for awards and winning awards, or just being finalist or shortlisted. Really creating a social media presence, writing blogs, doing vlogs, something that I haven't done yet, which I need to start doing, and I've been saying that for the last 3 years. I still haven't done one. So I don't always practice what I preach. But there was a lot of stuff in there around that, and then I read another book, which was the 10x rule. I think it was, I can't remember the name of the author at this point in time, but that book, what I took from that book was just seize the opportunity, say yes to everything, and then pardon. Yes, and then just figure the rest of it out later, and that's what I have been doing.
It's a good book.
So really good. So those two books really shaped kind of the future of my personal brand, and when it came to the PR, I've just had an opinion, and a lot of it is about having an opinion. So when these opportunities came around, so with the Good Morning Britain, for example, we already had probably around, just £500,000 in value worth of press for the salon, even before Good Morning Britain. It was on every major paper. We were in Loose Women. We were, we had 2-page spreads, across the Sun and the Mirror and the Mail and the Birmingham Mail and all of that jazz when we first opened, because I knew that we needed a marketing angle, and I knew that by actually saying that we were the first, even though we were the first kids salon, by saying that we were the first kids salon, it made it more of a story, and I knew that the press will buy into it. I write my own press releases, so every single thing that I've done, every award that I've won, or every shortlist or anything like that, or any business that I've opened or any new project, I always write my own press releases. And I always send it out to the media and say, look, this is a new press release. Do you want to cover it or not? Like, this is, and then I'm quite relentless with it. I pick up the phone, I call them, I do what I can just to say, why aren't you picking this up? Blah blah blah. So I wrote a blog around children having facials, and that was just in response of Victoria Beckham, who at the time took her daughter Harper for a facial, and it caused a media uproar. And I remember reading it in the Sun, and I'm a Facebook person already. So on the Facebook, there was lots of different comments saying, "This is disgusting, Victoria Beckham, you're growing up too fast," and blah blah blah. So I had an opposing view. And I just put like, you don't need to get live. Like, it's her daughter, her money. And what's wrong with her feeling good and having a nice experience, blah blah blah. And within 10 minutes, and I'll put a link to my blog about it. And within 10 minutes, the Sun author had messaged me in my Facebook inbox saying, "Oh, we loved your blog. Do you mind doing a follow-up article story around this and putting your perspective in?" And I was like, "Yeah, fine." So that's what they did. They sent their guys around. We had an interview and they took some photos and stuff, and then they put like a double page spread in the Sun on Sunday, and it was in the same article as Victoria Beckham and Harper. So we were in a double page spread, but not only that, we were sharing the same article as Victoria Beckham, which was amazing. And then literally from that, the producers from Good Morning Britain called and said, "We saw this on," and they called me on the Monday and said, "We saw this on Monday, yesterday in the paper. We want you to come in tomorrow." And obviously, reading the Grant Cardin book and saying yes to everything, I was just like, "Yeah, fine, I'll do it, whatever." Like, I don't really care.
Seizing the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. But the reason why I was prepared, because obviously I knew the business, but I also knew myself, and I also knew the personal brand, and I also knew the PR that I would get from myself, and even just small things like what I wore, how I had my hair, like just those little details I kind of knew already in my head. I prepared for it already because I knew from a personal strategy that I was going to have a TV appearance. And actually the TV appearance that I was looking at was a local TV station, like Birmingham May TV or something like that. It was never going. I never set my sights on ITV or Good Morning Britain, but because I had already had TV station in my head, everything was prepared. So I just knew already that I was prepared. So it was easy for me to say yes and go in and do my thing. And then I guess since then I became networked, as you do, and I networked with the producers of the show, and we spoke, and I told them a little bit about myself and stuff, and they said, "Well, if we ever have topics that you feel that we want you to speak on, any business related stuff, would you mind?" I said, "Absolutely fine," and true to their word, when there's things that come up that they think that I'll be good for, they give me a call. I also networked with Alex Beresford, who was the weatherman at the time. I told him that he's doing my event. I have an award ceremony every year, which is the MBCC Awards. And I told him straight and plain there that I need you to host my next event. He was like, yeah, just speak to my people, which I did. I had to speak to his agent and management team, but lo and behold, we managed to get Alex to host our award ceremony last year. Massive event at the Villa, like it probably was the event of the year, to be honest. And I'm not just saying that because it's my event, we had Jamelia come through, we gave her an award, we had Beverly Knight come through, she sung. It was just an incredible event, probably one of my most memorable projects today, to be honest. It was just a phenomenal event. So it's just all about networking, planning, strategizing, and executing and just being fearless and just saying yeah, but you're prepared, so there's no reason why you shouldn't say yes.
Yeah. Obviously, we're living through the pandemic and loads of crazy stuff, but I'm seeing you everywhere. And I love that the fact that your PR has been on point. And we've gone into that. But I want to talk about what can an entrepreneur do, a business person do through this these uncertain times that could help them grow their business and grow themselves.
So I think I just think every entrepreneur at this point during this pandemic, if they haven't already done it, just needs to stop for a second, just pause and take stock around them. And that's not just with business, like that's with everything. That's with the people who are in your life or who are in your circle. That's with kind of your businesses, of course, and just life in general, and whether you're happy or not. That would be the first thing. The second thing I would definitely say is 100% look at your personal brand. Like, look at what people see in you. Like, look at what platforms you can go on. First, quite easy thing you could do if you haven't already done it is Google yourself. Just literally type your name in Google, see what comes up, because that's what people are doing. That's what people, if people want you on their platform, the first thing they're going to do is Google you and see what comes up. If you don't feel, or if you don't see anything when you Google yourself that represents you in the light that you wanted to represent you within, then change it. You could do that through many ways. You could do a quick WordPress website and have that, so when someone types your name in, that will come up first in the rankings. You could write a few blogs and then obviously put your name in there, so you know the words that will get picked up by SEO. But you have the power to look at what people see, and you know, your personal brand is like your window to yourself. It's like window shopping. It's like that's what people look at before they actually invest into you as a person. And without my personal brand, I highly doubt that I would have any of the opportunities that I have now within business, or just literally within kind of the world of PR. I mean, in the last 6 months since the pandemic hit, or 7 months, you know, I think I've been on Good Morning Britain probably around 6 times now, talking about different topics, from business to, you know, Black Lives Matter to, you know, the pandemic and policing, and it's been great. I've been on, you know, ITV Central countless times, BBC countless times. We're talking about various other things. I've had, you know, paper covering, you know, people covering in the papers, in press articles, and literally that is all about me strengthening my personal brand and standing for something. And that is so important. I think it's, you have to have an opinion, but be very respectful with your opinion.
So like, how can the audience and the viewers and the listeners get in contact with you?
I'm everywhere, literally. So no, the best way is if you go to my website, trupowell.com. You'll see pretty much all my socials and details on all the businesses that I run and the companies, etc., and all the stuff that I'm up to. But equally, I'm on social media, so Tru_Powell, and that's on Twitter and Instagram. So you can see my stuff there. But if you want to drop me an email, tru@trupowell.com, and you could just drop me an email and we could connect. But yeah, literally, you won't struggle to find me. And then obviously from that you'll see all my businesses in my bio, and that's on every platform that I have all my business in my bio. So if you want to connect with a specific business, then you can do that from there.
Cool, perfect. Tru Powell, it's been amazing having you on Huffington Post, getting to know more about you. There was a lot of insight there, and a lot of things that's going to make me even go away and think, you know what, it's right there. Let me just work on more of myself a bit more. And I think this whole month, this whole like 2020 has been a massive focus on self. But anyway, Listeners and viewers, I want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Please share this with a friend, like, subscribe, follow Powell. You know where I am. All the information is down below. You know where I am. But I want to say thank you very much for watching and listening. Take care, and I'll see you on the next podcast.